This is the chryselephantine statue of Zeus, the work of the greatest sculptor of all time, Phidias. The throne is made of gold and ivory, adorned with precious stones. In his right hand, Zeus holds a victory, and in his left, a scepter topped with a golden eagle. The hair and beard of this masterpiece, considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, is fashioned in pure gold. Also of gold are his robes, his sandals, the statue of victory, and his sceptre. The undraped parts of his body and face are of pure ivory. The proportions of the statue are 7 times greater than that of an ordinary man, and its giant size provoked wonder and awe. On the base of the statue is the inscription, "I was made by Phidias, the son of Charmides, the Athenian." Apart from the temple of Zeus and Hera, which was built in the 7th century BC, pilgrims to Olympia admire the statue of Nike of Paionios, which can be seen in the Olympia Museum, as well as hundreds of other statues of gods, heroes, kings, prominent men, women, and athletes who had won events in the Olympic Games. Other superb buildings in the sacred Altis are the Ipodamion and the Pelopion, which was built in 1100 BC and dedicated to Pelops. Every year, a ram is sacrificed on the altar there in honor of Pelops. After his victory at Chaeronea in 338 BC, King Philip II of Macedon constructed the Philippion inside the sacred Altis. This elegant circular building, surrounded by an Ionic colonnade, was completed by Philip's son, Alexander the Great, who erected chryselephantine statues of his father, his mother, Olympia, his grandparents, Aminta and Eurydice, and of himself inside the temple. This is the Prytaneon, the residence of the magistrates, the officials of the sacred precinct. Inside the building was the altar of the goddess Hestia, with the sacred eternal flame, which is never extinguished. Constructed in the late 6th century BC, the Prytaneon was used for festive gatherings in honor of Olympic victors and official guests. The Echo Colonnade was built in 350 BC. This long, narrow building divides the stadium from the sacred Altis. It owes its name to its marvelous acoustics, as each sound has a 7-fold echo. Outside the sacred Altis, we can admire the Vouleftirion, in which the Olympic Senate convened. Here, the resolutions were kept, and athletes were sworn in prior to the games before the altar of Zeus Horkios. Next to the Vouleftirion was a southern stoa, used in those times as the official entrance to the sanctuary. It was built in the 4th century BC. At the entrance to the sacred precinct, west of the Altis, was the gymnasium, a large outdoor space surrounded by colonnades. It was constructed in the 2nd century BC and used for athletes to warm up for the foot race and the pentathlon. The Palestra was a square building with a large interior courtyard built in the 3rd century BC. Here, Olympic athletes met before the opening of the official games and conducted practice matches in wrestling, boxing, jumping, and combined wrestling boxing, Pangration. The peristyle court was surrounded by changing rooms, baths and halls with benches for training. South of the Palestra was the Theokoion, the official residence of the priests. Next to the workshop of Phidias was a Leonideion, a large hostel which was built in 330 BC. Here, distinguished official guests were accommodated, especially during the period of the Olympic Games. Here stood the exedra of Herod Atticus, or the Nymphaeon. It was the water reservoir of the sacred Altis, built in 141 to 157 AD, with funds from the philosopher and orator Herod Atticus. His wife Regilla dedicated a marble bull with an inscription in a prominent position of the Nymphaeon. Nearby, on a raised terrace, are the small temple-type treasury buildings. They were used to store the valuable votive offerings from various cities to Olympia. These are the main buildings of ancient Olympia and the sacred Altis that gave birth to the Olympics, the athletic games, which remained untouched by the ravages of time. On the contrary, they encouraged friendly competition, conciliation, and unity among the nations of the world, helping to make it a better place.